In today's lesson, we are going into the third part of the framework, step 3, which is create. And as part of the creation step, we are going to be covering, firstly, creating your content marketing plan. So, oftentimes people will ask me, what is a content marketing plan? And if you're in the health industry, your focus is your clients, right? So I don't always necessarily expect everybody to be up to date with all the marketing terms. But basically, your content marketing plan is the plan that you're going to use each week, each month, each quarter, each year for your social media content, for your blog posting, your podcast, whatever content that you're creating for your business, even your newsletters, all of that is going to be mapped out into a 12-month plan. So you know what's coming up. You're not just running from task to task. And with a plan, it means that you can schedule and forget. That's the best part. So, content marketing really is important because this is where you can actually take the time to start using the information that you've gathered from understanding your target audience, that ideal client, your competitor research, your identifying that point of difference with your business, and now start sharing valuable, informative content that positions you as an expert, as somebody who's open to connecting, who people can trust, and shows your wealth of experience. No matter where you are in your journey, always remember, if you're starting your business today or if you've been in business for years, you have knowledge that you've gained through your educational training, from everything that you've done to get you to this point. Your life experiences, all of that counts. And this is an opportunity for you to bring all of that together into the essence of you and share that through your content. So, with the content marketing plan, the first step always is to start reviewing, well, what have you been doing with your content up until now? Have a look at your website, have a look at blog posts if you've written any, your social media content. Have a look at the statistics and do an audit of your content to find out a baseline for what has been working for you right now or up until this point, so that you can then use that to track the improvements that are definitely going to come as you create your 12-month plan for your social media, for your blog posting and podcasting, etc. So it's really important that you have a baseline. Oftentimes people will not do this, and then it's really difficult to assess, are you reaching your goals that you worked out in step 2 with this framework. So take the time to do the analysis. Remember, there is the spreadsheet that has all the metrics that you can use to start tracking all your content. So use that. It's a great tool to be able to understand what's working for your business and what's not. That way you can start building on what is working. Now, I just wanted to check in with you. Have you chosen your long form content platform? Are you going to be writing blogs? Or have you decided, I really like speaking, so I'm going to go for a podcast? And from working with my clients, from having those research questions that I ask them, they love listening to podcasts on their way to work, in the car when they're getting the kids. So I think a podcast is going to work for my audience. Or do you want to run videos on YouTube or one of the social media platforms? Whatever your long form content is going to be, choose the platform, make sure that you've got that. So if that's a blog post, is your website set up for a blog? If you need help with that, let us know. Have you got your podcast sorted out? Have you started deciding, well, have you got all the tools that you need for your podcast? We have a whole course for podcasting. So let me know if you need access to that. A video. Have you secured your URL? Have you set up the description for each of your platforms? All of those things you need to start thinking about and planning and putting in place. So when it comes to creating that content and the plan that you want, I wanted to share with you one simple way that you can make all of your content connect, be cohesive in its messaging, and save you hours of time. This is a strategy that I've been teaching clients for a long time now, and I've used it in my business for years, and it works, and it is a lifesaver in terms of time and energy. So what it is excuse me. What it is that you take that long form content piece, that whether that be your blog post, video, or podcast. Within that, when you're structuring that content, it's important to take one problem, and with that problem that you've identified that your audience has, provide them with 3 tips, between 3 and 5 tips or benefits, so that you can then use each of those benefits and tips as content pieces for your social media. Easy, right? So one piece of long form content then breaks down into sending that out to your email database. Doesn't matter if you have 5 people or 50 people or 5,000. Send a newsletter, send an email to them to let them know of your latest piece of content that you've got to share with them, because they are the people that want to hear from you. From there, you can now create all your social media content for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whichever platform you've identified that works for your audience. You can do static posts, so that's where you've just got a graphic and then a caption next to it. And you could write one post on each of those tips that you've then had from the blog post, for example. You can create a reel, so that's a short 5 to 60-second video where, again, you're sharing information based on that one tip that you wrote about in your blog post. And always remember to tie it back to the blog post or the video or the podcast. Direct people back to that, because that's where the step is in your sales funnel of having them become aware of you, and then building on that so that you can then start a conversation and engage with them, and they can learn more about you in the next step when they read the blog post or watch the podcast. From there, you can also create carousels. So carousels are those posts that you'll see mainly on Instagram, where it will be 3 to 5 images, and they may each have a little bit of text on the image, and people can scroll through that. That's a carousel. So you could write a carousel based on one of the tips, and that means you've got already 9 pieces of content for your month, for your week, depending on how frequently you've decided to write your blog or do your podcast or video. That's how easy it is to start creating content. And this way, it all connects back to the message that you're sharing in your long form content. Remember to make your content actionable, provide advice, provide solutions. Make sure that your graphics are engaging and appealing to your audience. And also make sure that you're using words in your captions that help to increase visibility. So, again, think about searchability. What are people searching for in terms of hashtags when they're looking for stuff on Instagram? What are they looking for on Facebook? How are you going to get your content showing up more? And this way, you can plan in advance because you've got all the content that you're going to be writing. You've got the topics for your blog post, for example. So you can start mapping out all of your social media content months in advance as well. So it makes it a lot easier for you to stay on track. When you've started to map out your content, use a calendar. In this course, download the free 12-month calendar that we've got, which will allow you to start putting your content on there, the captions, the hashtags, all of that, so you can see what each month is going to look like. Block out special days, events that are important, weeks that may be important, whether that be mental health, wellness week, all of those types of things, Women's Day. Put them into the calendar so that you've got that marked out as well. And then you can formulate your long form content based on those topics as well. So I wanted to show you how this can start looking when you're doing the work for the planning. So the first thing, like I was saying, is break it down into quarters. I find that it's easier to look at everything in quarters or per month to begin with, instead of just thinking, oh my God, I have a whole year to think about. This way, you can take a little bit of time each month to start working on these quarters. Look at the themes that may be coming up for the next quarter. Like I said, any special days, events, holidays, things that are relevant to your industry and may be relevant to your clients. This is important to start mapping out in there as well. Then you can start brainstorming your content, the weekly, fortnightly topic ideas for your long form content that you're going to be creating. Once you've got those topic ideas, start writing them, the transcripts out, and then that way you can already start creating the social media content for it. So break it down per quarter. That way it's not overwhelming. And say, for example, we take writing a blog post and we've got the topic of 5 tips to reduce stiffness in your back from sitting at your desk. So this would be a great topic if you were a physiotherapist, possibly an OT, massage therapist, chiropractor, etc. So if you do more manual physical work with clients, then this type of topic might be something that comes up for you. You've got the blog post. Now look at static posts. Brainstorm and use the help of AI like Gemini or ChatGPT to help you create your content. I will say that it's meant to help you, but it shouldn't be everything that you write. You need to make sure that you bring in your own experience, your own flair, and your wording to anything that you get AI to create for you. But it's going to save you sitting and staring at a blank screen trying to figure out what to write. All you would do is take that blog post and get it to give you 5 static posts based on this blog post topic. You can get it to give you 5 topics to write about for the reels. It can give you ideas for what the video should contain, what the caption should contain, hashtags that you could use as well. So it's a great starting point, and you can do the same for the carousels. You can ask it to create you a carousel that has 3 slides, and each carousel should be on one of those tips. And I'm going to show you what this looks like in a second. So here's an example from AI. So I use Gemini for this, and I asked it to give me social media posts, to lay it out in a table so it's easy to understand, and to give me the static posts for Facebook and Instagram, to share a hook. So the hook is the first thing that is going to be on that graphic. So this could be feel like your desk chair is slowly turning you into a hunchback. That could get people's interest, and that's what a hook is about, is piquing people's interest with your content, stopping them from scrolling and getting them to take a few seconds to read your post and engage with it. The caption or the text that would go with that is something like that. Again, it's really important that this is generic. Use your expertise, so your industry expertise, to come in there and add something more to this. Give an example of a client experience. Share insights of what you see day to day regarding this. Whatever that is, here is a brief description of either the image that you could use, or if you're going to create this into a reel, what you could be doing with the reel. And literally, with the video, you could be demonstrating some stretches that were part of the blog post originally. Again, here I've gone with a reel. So that's going to be on Instagram. It's going to be a short instructional video. We've got the caption, and we've got, again, you doing a stretch, reaching for the sky with a bit of music in the background. And you could overlay that with explaining how people follow through with doing that video. And here we've got a carousel. So you could then do a series of slides where you take people through a chest opener exercise. And each slide could give them one more step as part of the process of doing the entire stretch. So that's how you can make this work for you using AI and speed up your time. Now, this is just a screenshot of the calendar that we've created for you as a spreadsheet. So in here, you can see you've got your dates, you've got the post type. So if you click on that, there'll be a drop down and you can choose. So you know what it is you're creating for the week, whether that be a carousel, post, or reel. The caption and the hashtags that you're going to use. The graphics, here you could put a link to Canva if you've used Canva to create that. And this just makes it so much easier for you to know what you're creating, when you're creating it, and schedule it all in advance. Again, I'm going to stress the point. Analyze what you're doing. Schedule 30 minutes once a month. I put this in my Friday day where I don't do client work and I do all my admin stuff. This is a time where I go back and I look at my website traffic. I look at what's happened with my social media engagement, email open rates from that newsletter that I've now been sending out. It's really important that you start to track, well, what's been working month by month, or topics have resonated more with people, so that you can go ahead and create more of that. Now it's up to you. Go ahead, download the resources for this lesson, and get started with your planning. Don't forget to use that batching framework that we discussed in the goals lesson so that you can start mapping everything out in your calendar of the time that you're going to use to start planning your content marketing plan. That way, it doesn't feel overwhelming and it doesn't feel like you have to sit there and create all of this in one go.